No problem, Gordon. Yeah, your audio's good. No problem with it whatsoever. Probably about the same as I am to you, possibly a bit lower, 5 and 6 maybe. But no problem at all. I can hear you. And I'm only using 15 watts at the moment. I can turn it up obviously if I need to. But I won't do if everybody can hear me, there's no point. So nice to hear you, Gordon. You are in the log. This is M0JYP for the Stockport Radio Society. Regular Wednesday afternoon net on 2 metres, 145375 megahertz is the frequency. Do we have any more members of Stockport Radio Society who would like to join the net? Please come in now with your name and call sign. Go ahead.
Golf 0, Lima uniform, Andy.
Golf 0, Lima uniform. That's Andy. Yeah, got you, Andy. 5 and 9, no problem. How are you doing this afternoon? Back to you.
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Keith. I'll just give a few signal reports. You're a 5 and 9 as always. Alan's 5 and 9. Stephen, I can't hear him at all. The squelch opens up, but I can't get in. I don't hear any audio at all from Stephen, so I don't know what his QTH is. That'd be interesting to know. Bob, you're coming through a 5 and 9, as is Farid, 5 and 9. Nigel, I can only just hear him, very scratchy. Probably about 4 on the signal meter. And Gordon, you're coming through a 5 and 9 to me. Back to you, Keith.
Thanks for that, Andy. Thanks for those reports. I can tell you that Stephen, as far as I'm aware, as he did give the alternative prefix, will be somewhere in Didsbury. He'll confirm that on his next over. I think he's at his girlfriend's house in Didsbury, and he's only using 10 watts. So that probably explains it. Nigel's portable up at Teggs Nose Country Park, so I don't know how that is in proximity to you, because you're in High Lane, I believe. Is that right, Andy?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I think, I mean, I can hear Nigel, but he's very, very scratchy in the background if you look to copy him. But I think he's sort of round the corner from the hills, if you like, from me. That's why I can't hear Nigel. I'm not sure with Stephen why I can't get him in. If he's in Didsbury, I wouldn't have thought there would have been much problem there, but it's obviously just his QTH, in comparison with where I am. Back to you, Keith.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, with Nigel, there's probably a bloody hill in the way or something, but yeah, you should be able to get Didsbury all right. It's just the location sometimes. Very strange, isn't it, VHF? You've only got to put building in the way or something and of line of sight, and he sends a signal all over the place. But at least you can hear everybody to some degree, which is the main thing. This is, and it's good to get you in the log, Andy, and you are 5 and 9. This is M0JYP for the Stockport Radio Society. Regular Wednesday afternoon net on 2 metres, 145375 is the frequency. Do we have any more members of Stockport Radio Society who would like to join us? Well, please come in now with your name and call sign. Go ahead. I think back to the top of the shop, which is Alan. Yeah, your voice is sounding much better, Alan. Back to you.
Yeah, no problem. Just give some reports down. I'll get them from the last one in. Andy is 5 and 9, Gordon 5 and 7. Nigel, I'm sorry I can't hear you at all. I know you're there because I know your voice, and just about hear something of you, but not enough to resolve you. Farrad 5 and 7, Bob 5 and 9, Stephen 5 and 7 to 8, and yourself, Keith, 5 and 9. So that's all the reports, yeah, no problem. And voice is coming back slowly. Hopefully next couple of weeks it'll get back to full normal, and I can then start shouting a bit on HF and see what we can get. But there's been another Aurora or so
returning. Yeah, well, yeah, there has been some auroras, haven't there? And I've noticed this last couple of days the bands have gone off again. They did pick up a bit last week. I did some good contacts last week, but this week it's just gone really dismal again, which is down to these auroras. There was one day the SFI index went up to about 300, but the A index went up to about 100 and odd. I've never seen that before, which is dire, because the lower the better for the A index, and the K index went to 6. It normally goes to maximum 5, so that tells you how bad they were. And I couldn't find that day, I think it might have been Monday, and I could not find a signal on any band at all throughout the day. A little bit came alive at 20 metres in the evening, but nothing to write home about. So really taking its toll, these solar effects and these auroras at the moment. Last week I thought things were getting back to a bit better, but gone right off again. 6 Metre Net last night went well, and everybody came through really well, and I'm glad I could work my new feature, which was the DPD on the last firmware update, and everybody said I sounded alright, and you said it sounded better than without it, so proved it was working, so that's good. And all copied on Ofcom. You want to get round to that as soon as you can. Obviously you don't want to go through the rigmarole. I did once when I forgot, and I had to go back to Ofcom and beg, steal, or borrow to get my licence back. Well, it came back, so no problem. So yeah, all copied. Thanks, Alan. Stephen, M0RDN stroke alternative. I am right, you're in Didsbury, aren't you? Back to you.
M0RDN returning. Yes, that's correct. I am in Didsbury at the moment at the X-Wales QTH. Hopefully everyone should be able to hear me a bit better, and I should be able to hear everyone else a bit better, because I've just managed to get the antenna about 5 metres up in the tree, so hopefully the signal should be better, especially the receive as well. So how's that sounding to you, Keith? Back to you.
Me0JYP, you've gone up to 5 and 9 to me, so whatever you've done, it's worked. Back to you.
Yeah, you're a 5 and 9 for me as well. So, like I said, when we go around again, I'll get some more accurate reports so I can tell everyone else what their signal's like. But that's quite pleasing, actually, just with these J-pole and 10 watts. So we're back to M0JYP in the group from M0RDN stroke alternative.
No problem, Stephen. Just a quick one. That new radio you bought. Looks a business. I know they're quite old sets then, but it does sound well. What are you planning on using that for? Are you taking up CW on 2 metres or something, sideband? Is that what you've got it for? Back to you.
RDN returning. No, to be honest, it was something I've been fancying for a while, a nice little 2 metre all-mode transceiver, because I know that 2 metre SSB is becoming more and more popular. It's also quite light, and I can power this off just one of those LiFePO batteries that I've got. So it is something potentially that I could take up a hill or do something like that with. So yeah, it's horses for courses, but it just opens up a lot of options. And also I put that micro module 30 watts linear to go with it. So at the moment it's 10 watts, but potentially 30. So we'll see what it goes from there. Back to you.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, it does sound good anyway. So it's working really well. I've got nothing on 2 metre SSB at the moment. I used to have, but I've nothing now. In my experience on sideband, I never heard anything on voice. I know quite a few of the Morse operators use 2 metres, but I never heard much on voice. So good luck with that. I hope it serves you well. Bob G4GDG. Go ahead, Bob.
G4GDG. Yeah, that's sideband on 2 metres. Well, I have got one of those little Ukrainian transverter boards. Unfortunately, I bought a 4 metre and 2 metre one. You've probably heard me say this before. The crystal was broken, and
side of the Dnieper, and it's now in the Russian part of the Ukraine. So not much chance of getting that. What I was going to do was inject a local oscillator in from a little signal generator board I've got, which ironically is Russian, but the USB socket fell off of that, and Phil has really kindly soldiered it back onto me, so when I get that back I should be able to inject that in as a local oscillator, and then I can transfer it up from 10 metres up to 2. The 4 metre one is almost complete, the crystal in that one was fine, so just got to get the dummy load going as well now, because that's the coax unfortunately pulled the lug off of the load resistor. So I've got another one, but it's going to be a tricky job to solder that on as well, so next little job to do. Okay, what have we got down there? Yeah, Jordan 5 and 9 plus and Andy 5 and 9 plus. No problems there, and as you say, I parrot on the face is underneath the squelch with me, and I can't hear Nigel at all, so there we are. Back to M0JYP from G4GDG. Yeah, thanks very much, Bob. Thanks for all the information and the reports. Yeah, you're very strong to me. You always are, Bob. You're a cracking signal to me. You boom through. You're probably the loudest of everybody, but super. Yeah, well, good luck with all your bits and pieces, your soldering and what you have you. Hope you get it all sorted. I'm sure you will. A man of your ability, you'll get that sorted. Just wondering, is anybody going to the Red Rose Rally on Sunday? I think me and Alan are bobbing down there, but is anybody else going? Perhaps you could let us know as we go around. Nigel, G0RXA stroke portable, go ahead.
RXA portable, yeah, thanks Keith, and all good stuff. And Stephen, you didn't come up any as far as the signal strength is concerned, but you're certainly perfectly readable 5 and well, Q5, should we put it that way. Not too strong the signal, but then again, like Keith was saying, I'm probably behind a hill, which I am. I can see a little bump right in front of me, which is probably screaming from Andy, who is about 5 and 6 with me, 5 and 7. So there you go. And Gordon's about the same, about 5 and 6, 5 and 7. So it's a nice little spot this. So there you are, Stephen. You perhaps want to get your kit out and come up here, because it's a nice spot, and you can see most of the Cheshire Plain and beyond from here, so you'll get some decent signals. But as far as the rally is concerned, no, not me. It's the G50 Christmas party, believe it or not, on Sunday. So that's on Sunday afternoon. So probably a bit much getting there and getting back for it. But there you go. Back to you, Keith, to G0RXA.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Nigel. Yeah, I can hear you perfectly well from there. Great signal to me. No problem at all. Seeing as you're only using 5 watts, I would imagine, on an 817. Yeah, superb. It's a great spot. I love Teggs Nose. It's great, and I've been up there a few times. What we tend to do is we go up there, me, the wife, put the dog in the car. The wife takes the dog for a walk around some of the lovely walks around Teggs Nose, and I sit in the car and play a bit of radio. Wait for it to come back, then we have a coffee in the cafe, and yeah, it's nice to have a run out up there, and I really like it there. So thanks for that, Nigel. Oh yeah, and I hope the Christmas party goes well. Christmas party in August, wow, it's a new one. Gordon, M0LAR, go ahead.
M0LAR here, yeah, thanks very much. Stephen, I can't hear you at all, as always, but I believe you can hear me. And thanks very much for all your help on Saturday. You know, the extra knowledge you gave me about HF antennas was very useful. I'm going to check that up. And yes, I'm going to the rally, hopefully I'm going to the rally on Sunday. Have a look there at some of the antennas that Stephen showed me. See if there's anything there, see if there's anything going HF-wise. I'm hoping I can persuade my eldest granddaughter to go. Now, she was the to drag her around. But anyway, she was suitably unimpressed at the time. But she said, yeah, I might come, which is good. Get them into the hobby early. That's about it from me at the moment. I still can't hear Nigel, as I said, I can't hear Stephen. I've not heard Farid, but everyone else, fine, yeah, I can hear you. Especially you, Keith, very good signal. Anyway, back to you. This is M0LAR, back to M0JYP.
No problem. Thank you very much, Gordon. M0LAR, M0JYP returning. I think me and Alan are going to the rally. I'll be taking, I've got a HF antenna that I told you about last time at the club for sale, which is the Cobweb, but I think you said it's a bit too big for you. But it's for sale at a reasonable price. It's a very, very good antenna, the Cobweb. Does all the bands from 20 to 6 metres. Don't do 40, but does 20. And it's not that much of a footprint. It's about 7 foot 6 to 8 foot square, I think. Looks like a blooming rotary washing pole, really, that you shove up on a mast in the air, stick it up about 20 feet. Bob's your uncle, you work the world with that. But that's for sale if it's of any interest to you, Gordon. But what sort of antenna are you really looking for? Back to you.
The Cobweb sounded very tempting. However, I'd probably end up sleeping under the shed if I got that. What the bloody will you call that? I wouldn't risk it because I'd have to put it up in the back garden, which would cause a bit of a stir, shall we say. The ones that Stephen was showing me are an end-fed Magitenna. They'll do a good range of bands. They're not a bad price, they're 65 quid. But he said, if it's concerning you, then run it along the guttering. Good idea. It's an end-fed antenna, really, with an unknown on the end of it. And, for 65 quid, I thought it's worth a punt on that. So, I'm looking for that kind of thing, really. That I can hide, or at least I can perhaps get going, linked to this tree that's in full leaf near me. And, something like that. I was thinking of something that would go out of because I'm on the first floor of my office, and somewhere from there, rather than going back down to the ground again, along an upper pole, rather if I can swing it out the window here, that would be the easiest thing for me. Anyway, does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know if I'm making sense. This is M0LAR, back to M0JYP.
Yeah, no problem, Gordon. Yeah, well, I started off my HF escapades with an end-fed wire, and it worked. It got me into Europe, but it didn't perform as well as I wanted. Let me put it this way. I mean, you don't have to buy the Cobweb. That's not what I'm trying to do. But I'm just saying something like a Cobweb will outperform an end-fed 100%. It's just there'll be no comparison, I would think, as long as you got it at the right height, which is about 20 feet to a Cobweb. And the antenna I use, which is the Aerial 51, is also a tracking antenna. But again, you've got to get that up high. I've got mine up about 45 feet, but that's a wire antenna offset to fed, and it will outperform an end-fed wire. There's no mistaking. But it's horses for courses. It's what you're limited to getting up there. That's the problem, I know. But I'm just trying to say to you, I remember when I had the end-fed wire, I think I worked the States once on it. That was about it. And as soon as I got the Aerial 51, I was working the States every day. And I was working the Caribbean. They're all over the world. So it's horses for courses, unfortunately. But the trick is, with a lot of these antennas, certainly the Aerial 51, its height is mine. The Cobweb is not so much height, because it will operate. The optimum height for a Cobweb is 20 feet, which isn't that high. You could always tell your wife you bought her a washing pole. There's a suggestion. Good luck, Gordon, anyway. Andy G0, LLU, go ahead.
Yeah, G0RXA returning. Yeah, I use an end bed myself. I'm quite happy with that. But it's not that high, the end bed either. It's, I don't know what it is, probably about 6 metres at either end, something like that. It seems to work quite well. I mean, obviously I'm doing CW, but I'll get all over the world with it basically. Seems to work okay. I'm not saying there's all the best there is, and I could put something else up, but the way I look at it, I don't want to impose my hobby on the neighbours particularly, you know. Some people don't really mind about that too much, but I don't really want my garden to look like an aerial farm, and I don't want to impose my hobby on the neighbours. That's the way I look at it personally. Just going back to signal report, Stephen, you've come up now. You were coming in at a 5 and, well, probably about 5 and say 7 on the signal meter, but I could hear you. I couldn't hear it. You had no audio at all before, but it did come up. And interestingly, at 2 very brief points when you're over, it actually flashed up to a 9 on the signal, but then went back down. But at least I could hear you. Nigel's got a little bit more, even more scratchy for me, but I could still hear him at Teggs Nose, but very poor. Yeah, I mean, just a matter of interest, Gordon, on your next over, if you just let me know what power you're looking at trying to run through your end fed, if you would. That'd be useful, because I might have something here you could have. I don't know, I'll have to have a look round. Back to you, Keith.